Welcome to the Progress Zone podcast, where we help you create real momentum in your mindset, business, health, and life. I'm your host, Jody Donaldson, and every week we'll explore the small, intentional steps that lead to big, lasting growth. This isn't about hype, it's about habits. So let's get started. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Progress Zone podcast. Today's guest is someone who has spent decades in real conversations, building relationships, earning their trust, and working closely with people as they grow professionally. Liz Rossilli is the founder of Sales Savvy, and while she's known for her work in sales, what really stands out about Liz is what she's learned through that work. It's about mindset, confidence, communication, and how progress actually happens over time. Her perspective is grounded, practical, and very much aligned with what we talk about here: intentional growth, real relationships, and showing up in ways that reflect who you are, not just what you do. Liz, welcome to the Progress Zone. I'm really glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, first off, for folks that might not know you, and before we get into the work that you're doing today, I'd love for the listeners who may be meeting you for the first time to kind of get to know a little bit about you and your background and your story.
Sure. Thank you. Yes. Well, I've been in sales for over 30 years. I just love being passionate about products and selling them. And I've done a lot of different things. My husband has moved us many times. So every time we move, I have to reinvent myself.
Nice.
But my story actually starts back when I was in college. When I was growing up, my dad had a antique lighting store, and he used to refinish antique lighting on Cape Cod and
so
sell
cool.
them in his shop. So my summer job when I was growing up was always to polish all the lights to keep them shiny and bright. And the Cape air was not kind to those lamps, so they would tarnish quickly. So I always had work to do and things to do, but it took him a while. But like I would use different products for different types of lamps. If there was like tubing on the lamp, you needed a product that could get in there, but then it would get stuck and it would turn green or black, and they all smelled really bad and they were messy. And so he had been an entrepreneur for his whole life and said, there's got to be a better way. So it took him 7 years, and he would, every Monday he was closed, he would travel from Cape Cod to Boston, which was an hour and a half each way,
Wow.
and study the patents of other products. And he wasn't a chemist, but he just, would kind of study what they used in the products, research it before, no internet then. So he had to go to the public library. But it took him 7 years, and he developed a product called Cod Polish that he brought to market, and my brother would make it in the garage. They go out and sell it. And when I graduated from college, I started running the office for them. And, I came into that office with like a stack of invoices, no computer, no nothing, and had to kind of figure out how we were going to do everything. This was, like I said, early 90s. And so I kind of set up the office, just trial and error, figuring out what worked. And my brother would travel. He had no home for about 3 years and traveled across the country, opening up hardware stores. And after a couple of years, I kind of was like, why am I sitting in this little office all day on Cape Cod?
Right.
So I want to get out there. So I started cold calling when I was about 24 in hardware stores, and walking in, asking to talk to the manager, seeing if I could demo the product. And I will tell you, like, that gave me my love for sales, that adrenaline rush when you're talking to the right person and everything you say seems to be hitting and they get it. And, they're excited about the product. But there were plenty of days where they wouldn't let me demo or they didn't get it. And, I'd go cry in my car for a minute and then move on to the next one. But it gave me like my love for sales, but it also made me realize how important it was. Like, because I had this experience of polishing all these lamps, I knew every product on the market. So when they would be like, oh, no, we sell Neverdull or we sell Simichrome or whatever product, I knew like, oh yeah, okay, but this is how we're different or better or whatever. And I just knew everything about every product. And so it made me realize that when you are in sales, don't be afraid of your competition, like know them so that you can at least, you don't have to bash them, but you can at least know how you're better or how you're different than them. So that's kind of how I started, and, just have been ever since then. Then I left the Cape, I got married, and like I said, I've moved a bunch, but I've just done all different types of sales and thought everyone loves selling.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, I was selling promotional products at the time, and started helping some of my friends at that time when my business slowed way down, helping them just pivot and kind of look at their business in a different light. And that's when they were like, you need to do this as a business. Like, this is, and I was like, no, I don't know any, like, this is common sense. Like, what I do is nothing special. And they're like, no, like not everyone knows how to prospect and, outreach and have the confidence to do it. So that's when I started consulting during COVID.
Yeah. Wow. I love that story. I think too, like having that early influence of seeing your dad work so hard to grind and figure it out, and not having all the answers, but doing the due diligence to try to get that information and then to actually come to fruition a product that then you could see that whole side of it. I think that's so cool. When you left there and got married, did you ever go into corporate, or have you always been an entrepreneur individually when you were doing some of the promotional sales before you went into consulting?
Yeah. The closest I ever got to corporate was I was a pharmaceutical sales rep for a few years. So I still was in sales, working for a contracted sales force, but my husband has been in the pharma world since he graduated from college. So that wasn't easy. But after a couple of years, I was like, this, too much red tape, too much like promises, broken promise. I was like, so I went back to working with startups. I've worked for multiple startups doing operations and sales and marketing and different things. It's just where my heart is. I just love, and I've started a few companies on my own too in the past.
Well, you've got a great reputation. I know for the work that you do, and you've got a great network. For folks to understand a little bit, put it into context, when people reach out to you to work with you, what kind of work is that you're doing today? I mean, is it just sales? Is it other pieces to it? Is it communication? Like, kind of what does that look like when they come to you?
Well, when I was doing promotional products, I did, I've always, like, for the last probably 12 years, I've done a ton of networking, and I love networking. And I used to go to everything and just try to be there and meet people. And I love finding people and like, okay, who can I connect you with in my network? Like looking at it like it's a puzzle. And so I've done that for a long time, but then had an aha moment that my true client doesn't network. So, at that time, so it was kind of like, okay, I need to go back to like my basics of cold calling and creating a prospecting list and doing outreach. But I don't want to sit home or in my office all day doing that. So I had to find the balance of like, because you never know, like I meet someone, then you find out that their brother-in-law is your perfect ideal client, right? So you build that relationship and you find out later who they know and who they can connect you to, right? Like, oh, I didn't know you were looking for that, for speaking or whatever. Like I know someone who can help you with that, right? Yeah. So it kind of, I used to do both, but now in my role now as a consultant, and I look at it as like my network is I don't reach out to everyone, or I don't connect people to be like, are you my client? It's more about, once again, like looking at it like growing my network. How can I help you? And being someone of service and value. And in turn, it's just helped me to grow my business that way. So yeah. if that answers your question.
No, it does. And I think everybody who finds you, there probably is a different reason. Initially they reach out. Maybe it's, I need help with this particular part of my business, or, how do I network better? I know you're connected with the chamber and have great relationships. And so you meet a lot of people that way. And you've worked probably with so many people over the years. Is there like patterns that you tend to notice pretty quickly when you start working with someone? Like, is it one area that they come to you mostly about, or is it just kind of like, I don't know what I need?
Right. So usually it's that I feel like people have a passion. That's why they start a business, right?
Yeah.
I'm really good at this, or I have a passion for this, and they start a business and they don't realize, and as an entrepreneur, that how much goes into being an entrepreneur, right? You are now in charge of finance. You're in charge of,
HR.
there's no one to be like, there's no one to be like, oh, no, can you do this? Like, it's all you, right? And so I think part of overwhelm, and I think part of the scariest part is the sales part. So it's about looking at each business I work with individually, personalizing it to be like, okay, yeah, I can see like we need to come up with a true prospecting list, an outreach plan. Other people, it's more like they need help with how to be more intentional with their networking, right? What are you doing with I have business cards on my desk right now, right? What are you doing with those business cards when you collect them? Are you just connecting on LinkedIn and then that's it, right? I mean, you're just not having the best use of your time. So it's either setting up a system so that they can just know, okay, I went to this event. These are the 3 steps I have to do afterwards to build true relationships. That's what it's about.
Right.
So that's it. So I'm helping build relationships. I'm helping them set up an outreach plan, helping them. Sometimes they don't even know how to talk about what they sell. Like if you say, oh, like, what is it that tell me more. If they can't, if I can't visually picture what it is that they're selling, how am I going to purchase that? So sometimes it's getting clarity on what they're saying, how they're talking about it, and how clear their messaging is too.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that approach that you take too regarding, how you do your business and networking and really making authentic relationships. Like I think a lot of people, and maybe I'm generalizing, but I feel like there's a lot of folks that are just like, oh, it's fake. You go to these things and it's, it's small talk. And are you really building a connection? And I think there is an art to it. There is a way to do it that's authentic and also serving the purpose of building that network so that you have resources for people. And I think being when someone comes to you and you have this network like in your toolbox, I think that's awesome because they don't even know that could be beneficial to them, until you start working with them and find their pain points or wherever they need. So I love that. And I think, let me ask you, what do you think, why people, we kind of go on tangent on networking, but like, why do you think people get uncomfortable about it? Or when they talk about, I need to expand my network, how do they, what's where do they get stuck, I guess?
I think a lot of people don't realize what like I call it the long game, right? They're in it. They're being transactional. Like they're showing up. Like I just spoke for a group. I don't know if I should even say this, but I just spoke for a group and I asked who loves networking, and a couple of people raised their hand. And I said, what do you love about networking? And they said, I love the challenge of it. I love going in and meeting as many people as I can and getting out. And I was like, that is the complete opposite of what networking is supposed to be. Like, and it's not like, oh, where am I? Yes, everyone's looking for clients in the long run, but it's not about where are my clients? Like, who am I supposed to be meeting? It's like, who do I have that instant, I call them hot sparks. Who do I have a hot spark with that instant connection with? Those are the people that could end up being your best referral partners. They could be, and just going in with this mindset of like, I can meet some really interesting people today. And I don't know where it's going to lead to, but I know it's going to be okay. And I'm going to come back again and I'm going to follow up with these people. I'm going to have one-to-ones. I'm going to go to coffee. And that's just having a different mindset about what it's all about.
When you're teaching to or educating a class like this, and you're talking to folks that have said, hey, I like it, and they're not doing it the right way, what changes in someone when they start thinking long-term in the long game instead of transactionally? Like, do you see a shift in how their confidence level is or how they start performing in their own business to help them?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think if you're not like that and you are being transactional, people who have met you before are going to avoid you. So, you go to something and you see a couple, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to him because I know what. But I think people start to rely on you and to be, to go to you when they need something, right? Or like, hey, I'm looking for someone who does this. Do you know anyone? And they trust your opinion. So I think in my clients, like some people I think just can't get it at, like they see it like I need sales. So that's like, when you get past a certain sense of urgency, then I feel like there's not a lot I can do because sales across the board is a long game, right?
Yeah.
It's about building a foundation so that, because when I was doing promotional products, if someone would say to me, I'd meet them and be like, oh, okay, let me order from you. And they drop whoever they were using before. What's going to say they're not going to drop me that fast?
Right. If you don't keep nurturing it. Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to build a relationship so that they don't feel they can't lose me, right? That it took a while to get there, but now they know me and they're going to keep me. So
yeah.
I just feel like you can't, if you have to get past that mindset of like, someone said, I need to make this much in 3 months. And I was like, I can't guarantee that with you. I can help you set up for success, but I cannot tell you how long it's going to take. And,
right.
And it's about, you have to look at it about the process, not about the results.
Well, and I think a piece of that too, I mean, communication and then the trust, I think is such a part of that, right? So, and I think it just plays a big role in our day-to-day connecting with people. But from your experience, what actually builds that trust between people, like when they're networking and to feel comfortable enough to say, all right, I'm gonna work with you, or I'm gonna, that it is authentic.
I find that it's consistency. So it's like going to, without really realizing it, but you go to like, the Kerry Chamber, I'm very active in there. And then you meet someone at Solopreneur Alliance, and then you go to an after hours, you see them again, right? And they're still the same person you met before. They still have the same giving attitude, right? Like, oh, how can I help you? Oh, what's new? Oh, you told me, you told me you got a new dog. How's that? Like, just remembering things about people is so huge. So whether you have to go in and make notes, and sometimes I'm like, I'm totally going to remember all this stuff. And then you don't remember any of it. So if you can just remember a few things, it helps, like those people that you're like, I think this is someone that I need to know. So then I try to remember things about them and this, but consistency and always showing up in your authentic self, then I think it just takes time. But it's not like I started networking in January and by, even like May, people were like, oh, here's my money, right? It's just like people eventually are like, I think I need your help. I think I need you, and it's just because I just keep showing up and they now trust me, I think.
Yeah. No, I love that, because I do think it's so important. I mean, we always say, right, people want to work with folks they know, like, and trust. And, it's like when you are showing up and you are being authentic and helping, not always seeking something, but you're out there really, putting an olive branch out to help someone else or get them going or support them. That's the one thing I love about chambers and the networking is, the support of the chamber for all small businesses and entrepreneurs and everybody that's out there grinding day to day. I think something you said too, I want to ask your thoughts on it, but how important is listening compared to talking? Like, I feel, right, if people have an agenda, sometimes they go in with, I need to do my pitch.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be smart, right?
Yeah. I also run something called Leads with Liz, which is a sales tips and networking tips free hour that I run. And I'll give like a networking tip and then we'll network. And I can see the people that are like still, like, I'll talk about like, listen, ask like thoughtful questions. And I'll see there's two people talking. And for the whole 5 minutes, one person is doing all the talking. Yeah. Right. And the other person doesn't want to interrupt them. But to me, that's like, how are you learning? You're so worried about getting your message out, right? When really, if you are listening, you're going to hear what you need to know from what they're saying to then ask thoughtful questions. If you truly care about it, you're going to ask thoughtful questions. And then, then you're going to have a better way to talk about what you do based on what they just told you. Instead of being like, here's my pitch. It's like, you just told me that, here's what you're struggling with, or this is what your business is about. I'm going to change what I say to base it around what you just told me. Right. Yeah. So if I say I help entrepreneurs, with their sales, and you're telling me you have this team of, you have a team and you have this company, I'm going to say I help teams, right? Like, right. I'm going to change it, and I help teams that are trying to grow in this way. I can change it now based on what you told me. So
right.
it's very helpful to be a listener and to show that you are, making an effort to listen to them and letting them speak. And people love the people that listen more and talk more. They're like, oh, I loved her. Like she was, but it's just probably because she let you do all the talking.
Right. Right. It made you feel good. Let you vent, get it out. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I think, all that completely makes sense. And when you're talking to people and you're doing these education and trainings and sharing with it, I'm not asking you to give away all your secrets because we want people to go to your things, but are there like one or two things that you see a consistent entrepreneur, I know we said it might be sales, it might be networking, but are there like one or two areas that you just see showing up every single time that's a problem for them?
Yeah, I would say having a good system in place, like, whether it's a spreadsheet or a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, that you're keeping track not of your clients, but of the people that you're meeting. And some people are they're like, oh, I just like, that's not going to be a client of mine, so I'm not going to put them in there, right? But those people you need to follow up with too, right? I'm about to close a client who I probably met, I would say 8 months or a year ago. And I've just followed up every 2 months. And then I'll send her like, here's my offer, or here's like, I have a special or something. I'll email her every once in a while. But then like, I just messaged her and was like, hey, I'd love to hear, it's a new year. I'd love to hear what's up with you and your business. Like, I'd love to catch up. And she just was like, I love seeing all your stuff on social media. Like you put a smile on my face. Yes, let's meet for coffee, but that's because she's in my CRM and I just have a note to like every 2 months, just shoot her. Like, it doesn't have to be this long thing. I might just be like, hey, I just reached out to someone else. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen them in 4 years. And I messaged her and I was like, I haven't seen you. I was just thinking about you. Do you want to get together for coffee? And she responded in 3 minutes. And I was like, yes, I would love to. Like, it's not, I don't have to feel bad. Like, why haven't I reached out to her in for it? Like, we're busy. Like, everyone has stuff going on. But she's like, yes, I would love to meet for coffee. So that's going to just rekindle it. And having those people in my list, whether it's someone I need to follow up consistently or someone I can just reach out to every few years, so.
Let me ask you this, because I bet it comes up a lot, right? People's roadblocks of why I don't do that or why I'm scared to do that. They think probably, I'm going to bother them or I'm bugging them. Like, what is your thoughts on that? And how do you work them through that mindset piece?
Yes, I would say that's probably one of the biggest things. So, like one of the things about if you don't have a system set up that was organizing all these things, there's a lot of clutter. And if you don't have a place to get all that out, whether it's a to-do list or Trello or some sort of tool, getting that out and having a place to track things, then you're like, I need to be doing some sort of sales. I need, to be reaching out. So then they're like, okay, I'm going to write this email. I'm going to spend an hour and a half writing this amazing email and I'm going to send it to people. And then they didn't respond, right? Because no one reads their email. And they're like, I'm like, when did you, like, what did you do to follow up after that? And like, I don't, and they're going to, if they were interested, they would, I'm like, no, like, so my thing is take 2 weeks, find 15 leads or prospects or people in your network already and reach out 4 times in 2 weeks. Because if you reach out once and then, oh, it's been a month, I have to reach out again. They don't remember you reached out. You're just wasting time. Yeah. So you have to reach out 4 times within 2 weeks and find different methods. Like someone might have like 75,000 unread emails, right? They're not reading all their emails. Right. So are they on LinkedIn? Do you know them well enough to have if you text them, are they going to think that's weird or is that okay? Right. Can you call them? Like if you feel comfortable on the phone, like Facebook Messenger, like, maybe mail them a note in the mail. Like there's a lot of different ways. If they have a local business, go stop in. Like, but what are the different ways? And then just reaching out multiple times to a small number for 2 weeks and then moving on to the next one. And a lot of times if you follow up and they're interested, they're like, oh, thank you so much. Like,
Right.
I meant to call you. And so you're not bothering. If you call someone on the phone and they're busy, they're not going to answer the phone. So you're not bothering them, and you can't help them if you don't tell them.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, getting over that mindset of I'm not bothering them. I need to be top of mind, right? So when they are ready for my service or product or whatever it is, that they're like, oh, I know Liz, okay, yeah, that's who I'm going to go to get help. That it really, I mean, I think, and I don't know where it comes from, but I feel like people just get so negative about that it's not authentic, that it's still transactional. But I think when you're showing up authentically and you're really being a good person, a good networker, a good connector, and you're helping others, that comes through. And I think if people could understand that when you're really doing it the right way, it's not sales, it's not bugging people. You're actually just reminding them what you do, that you're here for them. And when they're ready, they'll say, oh, I saw her email or I got her text, and yep, I need to reach out. So,
but it should be that you've built some sort of relationship, right? Sometimes you're reaching out to people you don't know. Yes, of course, that is transactional, but letting them know that you're not just, gonna disappear in 2 months, right? Like, it's consistency and being patient with it. But yes, I definitely think there's a thing about, I'm bothering them. But if they need you, it just might take a while, right? Like this woman, she, I never feel like I'm bothering her every time I reach out to her. And so now she's like, I think we're ready, but I have been consistent with that reach out. And I truly mean it. Like I am interested in what's happening with her business. I do like going to coffee with her. I am excited about working with her. Yeah. So, I get excited about what's going on with your business. Like, it's a puzzle. Like, how do we solve this problem? Like, let's brainstorm on different ways to look at it. And my favorite is to think of it. I think too, if you think of hiring a coach or someone, it's a fresh set of eyes, right? They're looking at it from a different angle that you cannot see, because someone said, if you're inside the bottle, you can't read the label.
Yeah, that's so true, right? And it's emotional, right? Because if it's you and you've got all this other stuff that's going on in the background that really might blur what you're really trying to figure out. And I think having a fresh set of eyes is so important. Having a coach, having a focus group of or a team of people that really can bring that outside perspective helps so much. And I think, to your point, when we're talking about people worried about bugging folks, the reality is if you are bugging them, you're going to know, because they're going to either say, do not call me again. Yeah. But if you have a true, authentic relationship, that's not going to happen. And I think that's where people just are afraid. And you're going to be okay if someone says no. Like, you might go to your car and cry like I used to, but you get over it. And I always say I'd rather have a no than a don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Because that creates that limbo world. Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave me. Like, I'm a big girl. I can handle it. Say no to me. And and when people say no, sometimes it means not now. Right. So knowing when, but if your pipeline is too small and you only have total 20 prospects that you keep going after, then you're going to end up bugging them. Right. So you need to make sure you're constantly growing your network so you have more people to connect with and reach out to. You can't go to coffee with the same 5 people every morning. Right. That's true. And I think too, I feel like we all live in a instant gratification world, right? Like, it's so crazy. I think progress often feels slower than what they expect, right? So when you're working with folks, and does that come up? Are they like, why isn't this happening fast enough? I mean, like you said, it's a long game, right? You're nurturing something for the future. It's not necessarily going to happen tomorrow, but do you find that happens, that people are expecting quicker results? And I think it happens with their sales and with their marketing, where they're always changing their messaging because they're like, oh, I'm not getting clients. But you have to just have faith in it and realize that it's just going to, you can't talk to 10 people. And if you don't get a sale, it means that you need to change things, right? It's too small of a group. Those weren't your 10 people, but maybe the next 3 are, right? So, they always say you have to keep
you have to get through every no is closer to a yes. So, but you have to, I think you have to have that outside perspective to know, like, does this make sense? Right. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to keep calling. And if something is way off, right, or your approach is bad, then no one's going to buy that. Right. So it has to be a good offer, a good product that people need, and a way that you can really help them.
Let me ask you this, and I think we've kind of touched on it with a couple of things, but what separates the people who just keep moving forward and prosper and do better than those who just stall, or they say this is too hard? Like, is there a trait that they have, the people that you see working with? Is it a mindset? What is it that separates those that that get it and move forward versus those that just get stuck and say, this isn't working for me?
I think it's the people that are willing to put the work in, right? It's not easy. Like I still have trouble picking up the phone and making cold calls, but it's knowing, like, saying, like, if I don't tell them, how can I help them? Right. But I think it's to just not, like, being open-minded, like being like, okay, I need to think of this in a different way. I need to come up with a new plan. If we together come up with a plan, you need to follow it you can't follow it for 2 weeks and then be like, I didn't get any business from this. Right. So kind of like any self-help, right? Anything where people are open-minded to making changes, it's the same thing. The people that take the advice and put it into action are going to see the results, but they also have to have the patience to every day to show up and do the work. Yeah,
that's so true. I mean, it goes back to that consistency thing too, right? Whether it's just in how they show up, or the work that they're doing, or the calls that they're making, or their social posts that they're doing, like, you got to do it, right? And But so I think there's some themes that we've talked about today, but like, for someone just listening who wants to grow professionally and just really build those stronger relationships, we talked about the networking in the right way and some other things. Is there anything else that could make the difference for folks that are really just looking to start growing, both as an entrepreneur or their business?
I think having, another thing that all these, like, successful people have, I think, is this, wanting to be better and having a good attitude towards it. So when you meet someone at a networking event, if they're kind of like, oh yeah, I sell insurance, like, why would you want to even talk, but the people that love what they do, they're excited and their passion comes through. I think that is such a great trait to have. And you don't have to love everything you do every day, but you do have to wake up and, like, be grateful for what you have and be excited for the day ahead. And I look at it like being an entrepreneur. It's about the journey, not about the ending point. It's about every day, how we're doing this, how we're not changing everything, but how we are making these slight pivots as we need, but constantly trying to grow and to be better in our business.
I love that. For those listening right now, if they're feeling stuck or unsure of that next step, how, what would you recommend? What would you say to them or want them to hear from today? And also, I want to ask, what's the best way to get in touch with you if they're looking to work with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, what the best advice for them would be, don't give up. Like, so my dad, who invented Cod Polish, my brother still runs the company. So if you look up Cod Polish, actually call and he'll answer the phone. So,
no way. That's awesome.
But he used to say to me all the time when I would get frustrated, he said, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And I hear him say that in my head all the time when I get frustrated or something's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And being an entrepreneur is hard, but we need our community. That's another reason to network. Build a community of people that understand what you're doing and get you. And, I have my inner circle. I have, like, people that if I need something or help, right? And it's also investing in your company and knowing, like, you can't do this all by yourself. And entrepreneurism is yes, you're alone in your business, but you don't have to be alone. So, if you hate doing the finances, if it does not bring you joy, hire a bookkeeper, right? And sometimes we need to take those chances and invest in our business. But, I'm learning how to get a VA now who's going to take care of some things off my plate. But having a bookkeeper and having someone help with social media. But, as you grow, you have to invest in your business. So I think just knowing that is that there's people out there and building that network so you have people who understand what you're going through and can relate and can share with you and support you and lift you up when you need it. So, yeah.
I think that's also something that people, and maybe, as society, I think sometimes people are just closed off or not. But people that want to truly help, they're going to lift you up and pull you up to them, especially if they're doing something that you strive to be doing or at a level that they're working at. If you surround yourself with those people or reach out to them, a lot of times they'll help you come up. So you can be vulnerable a little bit. You don't have to be like, I'm struggling with this. Like, just, I'm struggling with this. And what did you do to overcome it and get that help? Because I do think when you're around like-minded folks that feel that way and truly want to help, you're going to get that help in areas that you might not even plan for, right? Like because of the network. Right. So I think that's so true. Well, let me ask you a couple of things about Liz. What keeps you going when things get hard? Being an entrepreneur is not easy. So what keeps you going? Do you have any daily habits or anything that you do to keep you?
Oh, yeah. I try. I'm going to say I try because I don't do it every day, but I love the miracle morning. Yeah. So I love getting up and just having a plan for when I wake up and getting my workout done and meditating and writing in my journal. Like I love all that stuff in the morning. And I feel like that sets me up to have a great day. So, but truly I have like a few people and sometimes it changes. Like for a few years, I had this one, like these two women that we made a little mastermind group together, but our businesses have changed. And now I have two other women and we meet once a month for lunch and just share where we are, what we're doing. And we give each other advice. And it's just, that energizes me. And I'm in a women's empowerment group that once again, I feel energized and supported there. The chamber, just networking energizes me in general. So, but getting up every day, I love what I do. I just love talking sales. So if anyone does want to talk about their business or sales, I can go on and on about it. But I do offer free calls to just kind of see where you are. What advice can I help you with in, a 20-minute call? And if not, if you want to work together, like I love doing that too. So
nice. Well, if somebody does want to get in touch with you or learn more about, the services you provide, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? My favorite is LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is my, so Liz Rossilli is my LinkedIn, but I do have a website called Get Sales Savvy. And if you go there, you can book a call on there. You can book it through LinkedIn, but those are probably the two best ways to get in touch with me. Or you can look up on LinkedIn. I probably have my phone number on my website and you can call me on the phone because I love the phone. And we'll put all that information in the show notes too, so folks can just tap on it and reach out if they need to. But Liz, I can't thank you enough for being here today. I just think and I appreciate you sharing your experiences and your perspective. I think our conversation just isn't about the work or growth. I think it's about how we show up for people and the progress that actually happens over time. It's not instant and it's a work and it's a long game. And so I just thank you for being here and sharing your insights with us today. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it. Awesome. Well, and to everyone listening, just keep leaning into your growth, stay intentional with your progress, and remember that big change comes from small, consistent steps. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep making forward progress. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me in the Progress Zone. If today's episode gave you a spark, share it with a friend, subscribe, or leave a quick review. And remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. I'm Jody Donaldson, and I'll catch you next time inside the Progress Zone.